Hey everyone, it's Wilson, and as I mentioned that in my previous videos, I'm going to make a video on how to find breakout stock news and for both pre-market as well as midday gainers. Because as traders, we should never underestimate the power of press release, SEC filings, and anything that's news related because that can spike or break a stock. I mean, it can go either way. If there's good news, it can go up. So monitoring every little thing, such as a news release, pre-market, doing your research. The best traders, what they do is that they get up an hour early before the market opens and they read the news. They want to see and look for any type of catalyst that will spike the stock up or break it, right? So you can either go in for a short or you can go in for a long, and you will be surprised. Like for example, we can take a quick example right here. If we go to charts and Thinkorswim, a really good example of this is Finish Line. So I actually got in this stock, if you saw my other video on my weekly recap, when it was at its lows at 10, and you see the spike up. Now this spike up didn't happen because of like a technical breakout. What happened was that they released news, as you can see down here, that they might get bought by another company or get acquired and buy out, and instantly this news spiked. Now, why I think this is a really good example for this video is because um, this was not an early day gainer. So it wasn't in the pre-market zone and the news got released and the stocks start to jump up throughout the day. You see all the volume kicked in there at the end of the day. That means the news was released midday. And a lot of traders, they don't take advantage of these midday news spikes that get released. So in this video, I kind of want to show you the different ways to do a pre-market, which is super important, as well as get alerts for the midday. And my most favorite go-to source. Everyone has their own strategy for doing their little research pre-market, but I use a variety of sites. And I read the news, I do everything, I get up early, and I try to absorb as much as it is and try to find something that will trigger a breakout stock. This usually happens in like biotech or tech in general, and those stocks tend to spike up like crazy when there's really good press. Right, so press dominates the stock game. Even though technical indicators are super important, but press just makes a difference. My most favorite is Benzinga, and Benzinga it's a paid subscription, so you don't have to necessarily pay for it if you don't want. They do have a free trial that you can sign up for free and give it a try, and then you can decide to pay for it if you like. But this is the news feed. You can just go to Benzinga and then launch the news feed, and you can see all these news that are being updated instantly throughout the entire day, right? And when you see green, it means that the stock is up. So this news might have affected it. Like here's one about the MU. The good thing about this is that it's not just a regular news feed, like something that you can add to your RSS feed. The thing is that you can go to categories, and then you can narrow it down based on sectors. Like for example, if you want to look for breakout healthcare stocks, you check healthcare. You can go to categories and only filter out the ones that you want to see, like hot news, market moving exclusive, analysts, upgrade downgrades, earnings, and this is all super important. Now, once you see it pre-market, you want to look for something that's like, oh, this company, this biotech company, just got approved by FDA or something like that. That will spike up the stock like crazy, and that momentum will last 2 or 3 days. You can type in like a specific stock name in here, like ATOS is a hot stock, and you can see every little thing about it. So you want to look for some news. If there's a stock that's trading upwards with a lot of momentum, and there's no news on it, then usually I don't like to gamble with these stocks unless I'm bouncing in for a quick squeeze. So you can also navigate to the calendars tab, and then it will launch a calendar for you to look at the earnings reports. They have a great screener for you to screen out stocks. It's probably not the best screener, but it works. I guess my most favorite one is this one on the left right here that says Squawk. This is what I leave on in another tab throughout the entire day because it's like an audio broadcast that where somebody will come in and be like, hey, ATOS just released the results from the phase 1 trial, like instantly. Then instantly at that time, you know that if it's a positive news, the stock will go up, and that's probably a good time to buy in because it's probably consolidating and it's not really trading a lot of volume. But the volume will kick in just like how Finish Line did it with the buyout rumors near the end of the day. Somebody will shout it out. So it's a live audio. It's a really great feature. You can also get this for free in your Thinkorswim platform, but it's part of Benzinga's subscription. So this is one of the tools that I use. I love it. There's a lot of different features that you can explore within here. You can look at details of companies, and for example, you can type Apple here, and you see all the news on the bottom. You can view a chart. You can narrow it down to only SEC filings. If you want to see if insiders are buying stock or if they're selling the stock, that shows if the company's in good health or if somebody left the management team. Or you can just look at press release, which, as I said, don't underestimate the power of press release, right? So sometimes what you will find is that you might not want to look for stuff like this, like iPhone 8 is it good or bad? We probably don't want to know that, right? But what we might see sometimes is that they partner with some sort of manufacturing company, and that manufacturing company is only trading at like $2 or $3. That's a small cap stock. But anything that partners with Apple, I know I want to get in it because it's a big dog, and the company that's partnering might be small, but they will jump in price. So I like to look at every little thing about it. Another thing is that like you can go and Thinkorswim, and I have the news tab set up on the bottom right here. All you have to do is go on the right side and click live news, and you can type in almost any ticker. So ATOS again, and it will show all the news on the bottom. Then you can click on it and you can read all the news within this specific platform. How they're entering phase two and how long it will take. The news is almost instant and real time. Just make sure you log into your TD Ameritrade account and subscribe to the real time news, and it's absolutely free. All these things that I'm mentioning is absolutely free, and it's just a great source to get news throughout the day. So if you see a stock that's trading upwards and people are calling out in the chat rooms, type it into the chart, like ATOS, and then go and look at the real-time news, see what's happening. Is there any positive news about it? Will this stock last more than 2 or 3 days with the momentum, or is it just a technical breakout? What type of press is coming out? You want as much knowledge as you can get in the stock market, especially when you're a trader. Uh, the next thing I like to do pre-market is I like to go to Yahoo Finance, and I like to see the pre-market gainers or the stocks that are doing well. And you can see the percent change right here. It shows the volume. Like for example, this one is up. This China Allian Property Group is up, but there's no volume, and I don't know if I want to trade that. I don't know if it's going to continue going. I always look for low flow and high volume. So I look at everything that's on here, and these tabs make it very easy for you to do it. So you see these gains, and you want to see. Ideally, I don't like to shoot for stuff that's too low of a gain because it doesn't really mean anything to me. Like if it's like 2% or something like that, that doesn't mean anything. I always look for something at least the 12 to like 16% range. I don't like it too high as well because that means people can just trigger up and down prices like crazy, and that's like a casino gamble for me. So I want to manage my risk as much as possible. But Yahoo Finance gainers is a good one. You can also look at losers because if they're being shorted, it could mean that it's going back up on the next day. But again, you have to evaluate the company to make sure that it's a good company for it to come back up and push the momentum back up. Uh, Another one I really like is the stockmarketwatch.com, and you can look at it at the pre-market. You can select pre-market, top stocks, the market today, after hours. It kind of shows you the gauge of the market first, so you can look at the Nasdaq, the S&P, how is it performing, so you know how the overall stock market is going. The gold prices, especially if you're into gold stocks, this is super important, right? If you're buying mining stocks, if you're buying ETFs in this space, you want to know how the gold is performing, especially when you're looking for swings, right? And then if you scroll a little bit lower, you see the top gaining stocks, the top losing stocks, and again, you can look into these individual company, and the most important thing you probably want to look at is the percentage plus the volume. Like this one is just too crazy for me. It's up 144%. That's a gamble for me. I don't like playing those stocks. Whereas this one, Roku, right here, the IPO, they have a decent mid-range percent change in the gain, and decent volume. So this is something I will look into, and I'll look more into the fundamentals of the company. So you can see also right here, it also shows the different industries. It is very useful for swing traders if you want to see, if you want to buy like certain stocks in certain industries that's going up, right? So the stock market watch is a good one. Yahoo Finance, I really went over this one. Next one is Morningstar, to look at the earnings calendar, because stocks tend to spike the most up and down after earnings, right, or pre-earnings. Like, I don't like to buy in stocks pre-earnings because that's like a gamble for me, and I want to manage my risk. So I always wait for the earnings, and I want to watch to see how the stock momentum goes in the first 2 hours before I even decide to make a trade. But right here, you can go to different dates and see what's coming up in earnings. Like in October 4th, you see 8 Point Energy, and it launches after earnings. So after market closes. So I'll definitely be adding this to like my watch list to see what it is, right? Because if they beat expectations, chances are the stock will go up. Another thing I love about Morningstar is you can go to their homepage, and then you can check out all the news that they have. They usually release like 5 or 6 articles before the market opens, and you want to gauge to see what people are writing about, right? Like, you probably, if you're a day trader, you probably don't want to read stuff like a private equity outlooks, larger funds, but you want to look for these catalysts, like that has to do with biotech passing a new phase, or they're presenting at some sort of conference. These are all the stuff you really want to look at and add those stocks to your watch list, right? You want to see what people are actively trading. You want to see the volume, and this is just a great way to get in there. And Morningstar is a great fit for this. So that's what I like to use. And then midday, of course, I love to look at to see um, the live news feed. And another thing that I really like to do pre-market is I like to go into Thinkorswim, and I like to go to Market Watch tab. Of course, there's not going to be anything right now because it's the weekend and there's nothing on the pre-market. But usually an hour before pre-market, what you do is that you go to Lover and Losers under your market watch, and then you go to pre-market movers. Now there's nothing now because it's the weekend, as I said, but it usually gets polluted up with the stocks start moving pre-market. And you can do the same if you're a little bit earlier than pre-market. You can look at post-market. But here's an example of some data. They'll give you like top 10% Nasdaq gains, and then you sort it out by the mark percent change. That's how I like to do it. And I look at the volume as always. Then I look at the daily charts to see how it's behaving, how's the past performance, and I analyze all the trends. And then I also, like, for example, what was one of the stock right there? This has been the hot stock right here. So Gapper, and then we can look at, I would type in Gapper, and then I will look to see the trends, what's going on, why is it spiking, and then of course I look at the volume, I look at the RSI indicators, I look at all my other indicators. Then most importantly, I go and view the news to see what people are talking about. So right here, there's a press release. See, press release, and I want to read through it. I want to gauge, and I want to look for some strong catalysts that will spike the stock or give me a strong reason for me to short it. Um, because that's the way I like to play my games. I like to be safe, and I like to know if I can actually, if this is a stock that I'm buying today and it doesn't achieve the results that I want, do I want to cut my losses early, or do I want to swing it? Some companies, penny stocks and stuff, I don't want to swing it. I don't want to hold it overnight. I'd rather take a loss because those companies not going to last long, right? So I want to know everything about it. Is it just a hype? Is it because there's press after press? So I look at the history of the news. And this is how I really pretty much do all my pre-market research, and I go onto different news sites like marketwatch.com, thestreet.com. I read the news. I want to see what's happening, what's trending. And I also like to go in here and see how the market was trading after hours. So the grayed out area is the after hours. I need to know every little thing before I take my position in the stock. And this is my way of doing my research for pre-market. And of course, midday, I still watch the news. But if I'm too busy trading, I just have the Benzinga, the Squawk, open in another tab, and I listen for the call outs. As soon as I hear a call out, like last time they called out the AI stock, and then I immediately just typed it in here. I looked at it, and I saw it was trending upwards. I bought it midday, and the stock went up by, I think it closed at 25 cents higher than when I bought in, and that was all thanks to Benzinga's squat calls. So these are very important, and these are the stuff that I like to use. The last site that I like to use is, of course, Nasdaq.com. You can go in here under markets. You can see all these stuff like pre-market activity, after hours activity, most active. Unusual volume is something I always look at as well, and I want to see upgrade downgrades for more of my higher, smaller cap and mid cap stocks. And of course, again, if you're buying oil stocks, you want to see how the oil market is doing, right? If you're buying gold stocks, then you have to do that. Now, a misconception that a lot of traders get into is that they think that there's not going to be any type of way to predict the market's direction until the market opens. The truth is that futures are trading throughout the entire day. So if you go on these sites like Nasdaq and you look at stuff like commodities, you can see how the market's performing before it even opens. Are the gold prices up? Is oil up? And it's a great way to do it. So I would do that, and I will go down here and look at the most active stocks. They usually have much more data on like Monday, for example, when the pre-market opens, and I like to go to most advanced, and I want to see, like for example, Vera, a very hot stock as well. But this is not a stock that's in my range because the price is a little bit too high, and I don't have that much capital to put in it. So this is a stock that I probably wouldn't trade. Whereas this next one I would do it, but the volume is a bit too low, right? But again, I have to look at the float. So I have to look in the company, and I would probably type it in Yahoo Finance, or I would type in Finviz to see the float, to see the average volume, the relative volume, and then I'll decide to take my position. So always do all your research on the stock individually as well as the market in general, and using all these pre-market techniques as well as reading news, it will make you a much more prepared trader, and you feel much more safe with your positions. And make sure each time you buy in a stock, you think of it as an investment and not just like a pump and dump, right? We want to think about every single day of trading as an investment. So have your risk management, have your profit, and have your risk. And one of the best ways to have better profits is by looking at the news, by seeing how the company's past performances, look at the trends, look at the daily charts, and always listen to the news. Midday matters as well as pre-market. So that's my way of doing research. Um, if you guys have your own ideas, feel free to share it with me. This is my strategy. It might not work for you, but everyone should have their own strategy that works for them, and they should stick with it. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me anytime on Twitter at iswilson8. Thank you.